Katie Tunstall with Suddenly I See. My guest of the day is ready to come on.
94.3.
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
Okay, the idea in the times of this COVID-19 pandemic is to bring you stories of heroism, stories of people reaching out and trying to help the community. We had spoken to Dr. Mufazzal Lakdawala and his excellent work at the NSCI Dome, where they've actually built a 500-bed facility and an ICU. Another story caught my attention. Dr. Aditya Daftary, who's a radiologist, along with his band of few good men and women, Dr. Reshma and Jaideep Palep, and a few others that he's going to tell us about, are trying to help resident doctors. Aditya is also famous as the QwakDoc, QwakDoc. So please do check him out online. Good to see you. Always good to see you. How are you holding up in this COVID-19 crisis?
I'm doing well, Rishi. It's great to see you as always. It's been a while now.
Aditya, let's start at the top. A lot of people who are not concerned or associated with medicine as a profession or even otherwise don't know the literal meaning of resident doctors. Who are resident doctors?
So resident doctors are essentially that group of doctors that have finished their basic medical training. So essentially they finished their MBBS and they have become MBBS doctors. They can become GPs, but they've decided to go into the area of some sort of specialty or subspecialty training. And in order to do this, they are usually within hospitals. They stay there almost all of the time, which gives them the term resident doctor, and therefore they are resident within the hospital. And then they specialize in various areas, whether it be internal medicine, general surgery, radiology, orthopedics, you name the branch, and that's what they do. So resident doctors are essentially those doctors who are already doctors, but they are undergoing super specialty training, and they usually stay within a hospital in order to be able to deliver those services, be there and learn the most they can in that environment.
What is an average day at work at a public hospital for a resident doctor, Aditya?
So an average day at work in a non-COVID scenario is they wake up. Usually they're living in a hostel. Hostels in various large hospitals vary significantly. You may get a single room or you may have a shared room. Many of them have shared rooms. So you live in a shared room, you have a shared bathroom, you get done with your stuff. The cafeteria is really where you get your meal. You try and grab that and then head to work. In the morning, you'll be seeing patients, usually outpatient. If you're a surgeon, you may have operating theater duties. You basically work all the way through from 8 a.m. to 12:1, depending upon the kind of workload you need. You get a few breaks to grab a few snacks and meals. You get back to your shared room, your shared bathroom, dive back in and rinse and repeat. That's if you're not on call. If you're on call, then you don't get to go back to the call room. I mean, you can just go to the call room locally and try and spend some time there.
And obviously, they're stretched. You briefly mentioned, there is no recourse. And if something were to go wrong, the patients give them flack. So it's not an easy life to lead. And also, they're lacking in a lot of essentials. And I'd leave you to explain that.
Rishi, what I explained to you was the regular resident day. In the time of COVID, life is completely different. First of all, if you are training to be a radiologist or you are training to be any specialty, everybody has got COVID duties. So irrespective of your specialty, you're going in there. So you're a COVID day or a non-COVID day. Everyone who goes into the hospital now wakes up in the morning in a shared room, goes to a shared bathroom where there's no sanitizer. You carry your own soap, you change, you go down and somebody or the other may have provided a meal for you for breakfast. So you grab that meal, you drink 2 large glasses of oral rehydrating solution, and then you head to the hospital. You don a PPE kit, which is essentially that big white warm suit with a mask and with a face mask and a whole bunch of other things. You get into work. Your shift is supposed to be 6 to 8 hours. You generally will end up working 8.5 hours in that suit. You can't eat, you can't drink, you can't take a toilet break, and you're there for the next 8.5 hours. You lose approximately 2.5 liters of water. Some of you may faint along the way. Some of you will get up and make it through the whole day. You get back out of your PPE suit later in the evening. You get back to your room where there may be a coldish meal waiting for you. You go to your shared room without a mask, or you may have a mask, or you have to figure out how you're going to get your own mask. You go back to that same room, which is that bathroom, which may or may not have sanitizer or soap. And then you say, all right, now I got to go back to my shared room where all my other colleagues have been in high contact with all COVID patients. And we're all going to sleep together in a shared room without masks. And we're going to rinse and repeat this tomorrow. And while we're at work, we're going to get flack from patients because they're suffering. The administration is trying to help us at times, but at times they're like, stop whining. There's nobody else to do the the work. You've got to do it. You're a resident doctor. This is your job. This is how you would be better in life. So this is the horrible situation that we're dealing with. And this is the area that we're hoping to address.
Up ahead, what Dr. Aditya Daftary and a few others are hoping to address. Hang by for that as I play you some Calvin Harris and My Way. I'm Hrishi K, and you're tuned into 94.3 Radio on One World, your station. Lil Nas X with Billy Ray Cyrus and Diplo, that's Old Town Road. 4,000 young resident doctors are working in public hospitals with limited access to masks, face shields, sanitizers, pulse oximeters, oral rehydration solutions, nutrition, and more. They suffer silently and work tirelessly. Dr. Aditya Daftary, aka QwakDoc, a radiologist, is on the show with me today talking about their plight.
94.3. This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
What do they need now, Aditya? If you look at the immediate horizon, what is it that they're lacking that you think you and society at large, people who are watching this broadcast or listening to it, what can we do in terms of filling that gap?
So the way we've broken down their needs is there are 4 basic needs. And the first is in terms of actual urgent physical well-being need, which is masks, sanitizer, meals, nutrition, protein bars, that kind of stuff. The second level is the actual emotional well-being. There is almost nobody reaching out. The other day I picked up a phone, I spoke to one of the residents and I said, "What's happening with you? What can I do to help you?" And they were like, "I can't believe you phoned me. Nobody's ever phoned to ask me how I'm doing."
Wow.
So there's nobody, there's no appreciation for the kind of work they're doing. People appreciate healthcare workers as a large group, but nobody understands what the resident doctors do. And we mentioned this before, in any healthcare system, there are paramedical staff who are generally permanent. There are senior medical staff and doctors who are generally permanent. The resident doctor is the transient passenger through the system. They're in the terminal stage of their training where they're just going to go out. So they just want to stick their heads down, make it through and plow through. Don't want to have any problems in the stage. Don't want anything to hold them back for something they've been training their whole lives. So they're not going to complain, or they don't want to complain. They want to limit that stuff. And so they always get hit the hardest. So the second element is the emotional aspect of things. The third thing is, I think we do need to reach out to government to say that, look, we understand you're stretched, but we really do need to look after these people. Because when you have that patient on the ventilator, when you have that person who needs to be resuscitated, when you have to make that decision on who goes on a ventilator, who gets to go home, whatever happens, these are your frontline warriors. And if you're not looking after them now and you're worried about the healthcare system of today, then I don't know what you're going to see tomorrow. So look after these, nurture them, and keep them here. And I think, last but not least is their education. Right now, they're just struggling to help out with what the volumes are. You still have to give them an education while they get out. So these are 4 large areas that we want to work at. And what we're doing with Dr. Palik's foundation is we're trying to raise funds for them so that we are keeping in touch with the resident doctors in the medical resident associations in different hospitals. We're finding out what their needs are on a day-to-day basis. So they'll tell us we have 500 residents, we need 300 masks, we need 200 sanitizer, we need whatever else. And what we're doing with the funds we raise is actually directly procuring from the vendor at the best possible prices and sort of delivering it across to them and saying, look, making sure that all having them pick it up so that they are the direct recipients of this. There's no pilferage, there's no other problems. So that's what this particular fundraiser that we're doing on Keto is for. Keto has been awesome because they're not charging for COVID-related fundraisers. So they're actually taking 0 money from this, which is fantastic.
Good on Keto, the crowdfunding platform there on their efforts. More with Dr. Aditya Daftary and supporting junior resident doctors during this COVID crisis. But first up, it's the song X by the Jonas Brothers and Karol G. I'm Hrishi K, and this is 94.3 Radio on One World, your station. Vertigo by U2. The underlying theme to today's show is help Mumbai's resident doctors in public hospitals stay safe as they put themselves on the line to fight COVID-19. This morning, I'm speaking to Dr. Aditya Daftary, the radiologist, who's pooling in resources trying to ease the situation.
94.3. This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
We'll come to the modalities of that, or how people can donate to the cause. But I just want to understand, public hospitals, which is KEM, Nair, JJ, Sion, their ilk, would have about 4,000 residents, Aditya, according to a note that you sent me, and about approximately 500 PPE and masks are provided in hospital, and outside, of course, they live in hostels with shared accommodation. And they're given limited masks, and an important point is it's not about giving them liters of sanitizer, because even that is being siphoned off. The needs are very, very specific. I want you to address that. The second thing I want to address you to address is the fact that I was reading somewhere that a lot of conventional textile manufacturers or even car manufacturers are using their labor, their machinery, and their facilities, their factories, for example, to start manufacturing PPE kits. And there's no longer a shortage of the supply of PPE kits. So it's more about the distribution. So let's talk about the volumes of sanitizer and the PPE kits aspect.
So I think one thing that has happened, we've noticed, is the easy thing to do would be to send sort of gallons of, 5-liter jugs of sanitizer and say, listen, keep a bottle and we'll give them to you. And it was interesting that we heard notice, they said, so please don't send us gallons of sanitizer. We want 100 ml bottles because somebody swipes these gallons of sanitizer. So give us 100 ml bottles that we can keep in our pockets and walk around and use whenever we want. And we'll use one bottle a week or so. And that'd be good. So the small volume bottles is really, really important. I'm sorry, but I forgot the second portion of the question.
The PPE kits, are they enough? And considering we don't have a supply problem anymore.
Yeah. So from the standpoint of PPE kits, most of the residents have said that they are getting enough PPE kits. Now, when they say they're getting enough PPE kits, they're saying that we get one PPE kit per shift. And my thinking is that, well, wouldn't it be nice if there were 2 PPE kits per shift so that at least you could get out, grab something to eat and come back to it, which you're not able to do. And that's just a thought in terms of that. So PPE kits are available. I think where we're sort of coming to what we're doing is we're talking to them about when you get out of that work environment, how can we make you comfortable? We've all gone through horrible days of work, but then you come back to a warm meal, you come back to a family, you come back to something, you come back to watching TV, whatever it is, you come back to listen to Hrishi K on the radio. But this is not the luxury that they have, and it's just rinse, repeat, and no real appreciation for what they're doing from any quarters, and in fact, beratement at times that, stop whining, stop complaining, this is what you're supposed to do. So yeah, I think this is where. So PPE kits available, yes. Should there be more? Should they be more comfortable? Should there be more opportunity for them to step away, rest, relax, prevent burnout? Absolutely.
Well, our heart reaches out to our junior doctors, resident doctors there as they brave their way through this pandemic. Let's do some Maroon 5, shall we? This one's called This Love. Only on 94.3 Radio on One World, your station. My name is Hrishi K. When Love Takes Over by David Guetta and Kelly Rowland, junior doctors, resident doctors working in public hospitals are the focus today on my show. The conditions in which they're working in are very, very poor. Dr. Aditya Daftary, the radiologist who's chatting with me, along with a small group of doctors, foundations, trusts, associations, and medical students are rising to the occasion. The pleas to please donate generously, as these brave hearts are not only fighting COVID today, but are the future of our healthcare system.
94.3. This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
Let's now delve further into what you're trying to do. You mentioned a couple, the Paleps, who are involved. Who are some of the other people involved? How are you making sure that whatever you're trying to procure, whether it's assessing needs, raising funds, sourcing and procuring materials, is reaching the right people on the ground? What is the modus operandi, and what are you looking at? What you're doing?
So it's interesting, Rishi. There is no NGO that looks at, or nothing that really looks at resident doctors. Right? They're on their own, and so everything has happened in a fairly unstructured way. And people have done fabulous things. Dr. Gautam Zaveri is an orthopedic surgeon who's the head of Rajawadi Hospital. He realized very early on in the lockdown that his residents couldn't have trouble. The cafeteria closed down. They had to keep going to work. So he ensured that they were getting meals, that they got places to stay, that they got PPE in the early days. Once they started getting PPE, he discovered that the PPE was just very, very hard to be in. So he procured some really good high-level scrubs for them to be in. So that's one angle that things have done. There's the Alumni Association. So the Nair Hospital Alumni Association raised about 25 lakhs. And when I spoke to them a few weeks ago, they had dispersed almost 20 lakhs of that towards residents and looking after them. The Sion Hospital Alumni have been very active doing a lot of things. They've actually procured protein bars at about 50% of the price so that you could essentially give those to the residents while they work because they're not getting proper nutrition. From the Paleps, what they've been doing has been fantastic in so much as they've actually reached out to the residents themselves, asked them sort of of what exactly they need. So there's a WhatsApp chat that goes back and forth. What do you need today? What do you need tomorrow? What do you need a week from now? And you get a very clear sense of, what they need. So we connect with each hospital has something called a Maharashtra Association of Resident Doctors, and they have a head or a group that's more active. The larger hospitals are much more active than the smaller ones. So we keep in touch with them. We ask them what their daily needs are. And then what we do is we say, look, what are the kind of funds we have? Who can we reach out to in terms of trying to be the dealer who would give us the best rate? We receive things, and then once we receive them, we sort of actually tell the resident doctor that we have it in the Pallips Nursing Home in Worli and Prabhadevi. And then the residents actually come and pick it up from there. So we know it's going directly from farm to table, if you will. So it's completely direct acquisition, direct delivery. So that's sort of the way that we've been doing it to ensure that there's no pilferage and to ensure that people are getting everything. We've also tried to create a WhatsApp group where we're trying to bring everybody who's doing something together so that we're not duplicating things. If somebody's already bringing masks or somebody's already doing something else, then we're not bringing other people in. So that's sort of the second area that we're looking at.
So I know these are still early days, so you wouldn't have exact numbers of what the trust has done so far, data on resident deaths and ICU admissions. Is that something you're still collating eventually then to have those numbers? Yep.
Yeah. So as of now, fortunately, no residents have died, which is fantastic news.
Wonderful.
But as of June 4, they had reported 500 doctors positive for COVID in Maharashtra, of which a significantly high proportion of them, like 60 to 70% of them, would have been resident doctors. And in many situations, the resident doctors are saying, we want to be tested for COVID. And they're being told, no, that's fine. You don't need to be tested. You're fine. Just carry on. That's it.
Wow.
So this is stuff that they won't talk about this just because of the kind of stuff that they would get on this. So I'm not even going to mention which hospitals I'm talking to or working with because of, I've been quite concerned about that. So
fair enough. We'll come back for a last leg of conversation with my guest of the day, Dr. Aditya Daftary, and we shall actually give you the URL to go to donate to this noble and urgent cause. Back to the music. It's Scatman and Hatman by the Scatman and Lou Bega. Turn it up loud right here on 94.3 Radio on One World, your station. My name is Hrishi K. Jax Jones and Baby Rexa, awesome combination. That's the track Harder. We're talking about our frontline workers, junior and resident doctors at public hospitals like KEM, Nair, Sion Hospital, JJ Hospital, 4,000 in number. How can we fundraise for their well-being? All funds raised go directly towards purchases of materials, and the trust is run by doctors who are in direct contact with the resident doctors regarding their daily needs. A last leg of conversation with Dr. Aditya Daftary, who's spearheading this along with some colleagues.
94.3. This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
Okay, now let's get down to the modalities. Anybody who's watching this or listening to this, how can they contribute? I believe my friend, the actor Kunal Kapoor, and his partner Varun, who run keto.org, have been providing some great support. It's a crowdfunding platform,
right,
and they've decided to waive off their fees. So where can people go and how do they contribute?
So, Rishi, I don't have the exact site on it. I think you have it written with you.
I think I do.
It's
keto.org/resident COVID support. So, or you could just go on to keto.org, KETTO.org, and if you type on the search bar resident COVID support, it'll come up and you just make a donation, whatever amount. There are people who donated 25,000 and excess, and people who've donated what they can. And I'd like to add to that, with his considerable talent, and not just as a radiologist, but his stand-up comedy and all the characters that Aditya plays, he has a special offer for you guys if you donate in excess of 25K. And what is that, Aditya?
So, I think everybody's suffering. Everyone's run through everything on Netflix, Amazon, Hotstar. There's nothing left now except Hrishi K and me. So we're the two guys who are going to entertain the rest of the world now. But so what we're doing is, I've been running some comedy stuff. Some of my friends like it. Some people say it's terrible. There are a few characters. There's Rusi Kaka, the Parsi, who's always talking about things like he wants to talk about them. And there's Dave Kaka, who's the uncle from America, who's like, when I was 5-year-old, I had everything in my life, that guy. So they're their unique takes on life.
And there's a sobo mom. What's the sobo mom?
Oh yeah, she's like totally cool. She loves everything that we want to do in our lives, and it's just so, oh my God.
So, and your Trump impersonation would be?
Well, I just wanted to say that the resident doctors should stay resident to wherever they are. We don't really care. We can give them Clorox, we can give them other things, and they're just going to have to do what they do. It's genius, you know? That's what it is.
I love the hand movement. Boris Johnson now, man who's afflicted himself.
Oh, well, you know, it's a rather incredible time that we have in our country, and I've been rather stupid and silly about what I've done, but hey, what's going to stop me now? I think I'll do some more. Well, come aboard, everybody.
And who's Bob? I believe I've caught Bob, have I?
Bob is my friend from Nigeria. If you want to get some special PPE masks, you can send me $1 million and I will send you 20 million PPE masks.
So there you have it. If you donate in excess of 25K to these resident doctors who are really suffering, and like he said, they're almost like our army Jawans, frontline workers in the healthcare systems. Then you get Rusi Kaka, Dave Kaka, Sober Mom, Donald Trump, Boris Johnson impersonations, and Bob, all those characters on comedy online for about 10 or 15 minutes with Aditya Daftary, aka QwakDoc. So that's QwakDoc. Listen, this has been very nice. Please take care of yourself, be safe, be healthy, and thank you for all that you're doing for the city. Cheers.
Thank you so much, Hrishi. Thanks for all you're doing. I think it's phenomenal work that you do, and we love watching this, listening to the show, and now we can actually watch it.
Thank you.
All right. Cheers. Take care, Hrishi. Thanks.
That's Dr. Aditya Daftary. Time to bring on the Black Eyed Peas with Don't Lie. Only on 94.3 Radio 1 One World, your station. I'm Hrishi K.